And this is Slick Politics, the daily pod on Word Traction. Hope you all had as good a weekend as you can have during war times. And Slick Politics is, I wouldn't quite say, I was talking about force majeure yesterday, and I was going to say double entendre, but then you'd think I'm trying to big time by uh, by showing off that I know exactly two words in French, and that was not my intention. But of course, slick is for a perennially attached to as a descriptive for politicians because they're slick as an MF. But it also ties back to our larger subject in all of our worlds, which is oil. And the fact that Brent crude over the weekend hit an amount that was in the neighborhood of $110 a barrel, which is which is a lot of money, which is a level that crude has not seen since I guess the time that uh, since COVID at least. It's a lot. Of course, oil prices don't mean that every price at the pump escalates on the next day, but these these oil majors are pretty slick themselves, right? And like many big corporations, if their costs decrease rapidly, they will maintain price in an effort to fill their coffers and be very slow to adjust them for the benefit of the consumer, right? When their costs go up, or even when they're projecting their costs to go up, as they will with the oil price skyrocketing, they're going to increase their prices really quickly because they want to get a bite at the apple and they want to eat the entire thing, including the core, and which they are, of course, rotten to. But I won't mix any more metaphors or analogies. But I'm not. I'm holding my fingers crossed behind my back because I do things like that. So I'm going to try to be a better man, but I'm not making any promises. So what does that mean to us? Obviously, oil, the cost of transportation, and the fact that oil and petroleum distillates are interwoven into every aspect of our lives. Oil goes into, the polymers that go into plastics that go into, it's an endless cycle. And even as we try to move away from, back in the 70s, we were when the gas crisis was happening, then we said, well, we're going to try to eliminate our dependence on foreign oil because at that point the Saudis were excuse me were of course delightful people as they are today, but the Saudis weren't at that point financing the president of the United States to the tune of billions of dollars in corrupt influence and access. It was a different relationship. So just telling them to reduce the cost of oil in the 70s did not eliminate those gas lines that we all remember from that time. Those of us that were born and above ground. It was a pretty tough time, and even my addled brain goes back to that time. Not that I was driving that much in the 70s, but But I remember with my parents, it was a real impact. In this of course, this disruption will have a major global impact, as it already has, as you can see in the markets. It's the Straits of Hormuz, and that is oil, and that's LNG, and that affects every country that depends on that energy source, and it affects the futures, and it affects companies' projections on how much they're going to spend as a oil as oil or petroleum products as an input to other products. Right? So it makes everything a little bit more expensive and more complicated. How is it different today? Trump, of course, has changed the way that politics are done with the profound corruption that touches every part of our government, and the one of my least favorite terms or phrases, the permission structure, which means that if you're seeing the reason that parents try to set good examples for children is, you know, and then you get into the do as I say, not as I do, that whole circular argument. But businesses see the Trump administration. Think of you are a you are an oil major, right? So you are BP. You are, Chevron is not at the top of the list, but they're involved heavily in Venezuela, so they matter. And you are Shell, right? All of the oil majors gave, as I posted earlier this morning, the figures are, because of a lack of government transparency, the actual dollar amounts are not readily available, but you can do the kind of reverse engineer it. And it's a lot of money, right? That what these companies have done, what we can see and what we hear about is, companies like the tech bros that give money to build a ballroom. That's a that's a bribe to a president. You can call it you're contributing to the architectural improvement of a great American institution in the White House. No, that's bullshit. That's making yourself feel better, or making yourself believe that the corruption is not what it is, which is corruption. But if you need to tell yourself stories to make yourself feel better about your government, I mean, if you unfortunately voted that person into office, you probably need to tell yourself a lot of stories. You look at, perhaps you open your E-Trade and you say, well, I'm paying less taxes, and my IRA is looking a lot better. Thanks, DJT. My kids will have more money. I mean, you may die tomorrow, but you know what I mean. Down the line, that you give yourself a pass for making an absolutely selfish and wrong decision. That's fine. Whatever stories you got to tell yourself, God bless. Carry on. But for the rest of us that have to deal in the real world and go forward, then we're going to be paying for this for a long time. Of course, the Trump administration, as they have already this morning, these increases are going to be short term, and you can see where he's going to call his friends in the Gulf, the ones that parked money in his children's crypto company, not $100, over $1 billion in the Trump family assets, right? And say, you gotta you gotta pump more oil. You gotta pump more oil But what would be really helpful, Mr. Saudi oil minister, Mr. KSA, Mr. UAE, is say you're going to do it. Even if you're not going to do it, then I want you to say it, because then my voters are going to believe that you're going to pump more oil, and therefore, psychologically, they will feel better about this war that I chose to do now. You know, was it at the end of a yeah, after a weekend of the talk shows, and the news programs that I profess to still watch, because it was has been a bellwether in my world for so many decades. The Meet the Press, Face the Nation, This Week, etc. Of course, the Saudi oil minister will make noises to make the American president feel better if they're in business together. The Saudi oil minister and the MBS and MBZ and all of the verifiable bad guys that are the friends of the Trump administration, and the ones that you know uh, uh, bribe his children, will do anything. They will not say that this was America's war on behalf of Israel. Right? Lots of people like to set up that false narrative too, for a lot of reasons. There are a lot of people that, this is a Middle East subject, because that's where so much of the oil comes from. Even though we are, we're not nobody's energy independent. Even though you know, we are net exporters. You know, but it's all connected, right? Vladimir Putin, his oil. If you go, I'm just kind of pulling these numbers out of my brain. But the Urals, the oil that he has control over, direct control over. I'm not talking about the OPEC plus smoothing effect of the value of every barrel that's sold in the world on the open market, because of dynamics that I ain't quite smart enough to detail in this format. But I would say that at a time 2 months ago, when Brent, which is now 106, when I looked at it a half an hour ago, Brent was 70 something, right? Or less, right? And just in a round number, the cost or the value per barrel of the Urals blend of course, a dirty boy like like Putin will have a dirty brand of oil, like Nick Maduro did back in Venezuela. But I'm not going to make any dirty jokes related to Venezuela, because there are a lot of people that I like from there. And I don't want to characterize what they optimistically see as the benefits of having Nicolas Maduro removed from their country, which are, there are numerous benefits to removing somebody. And there are benefits in the short term for our ability to more completely manipulate Venezuelan oil output, right? There are benefits selfishly to the US, to the United States. It's wrong. It's wrong to impose your will on another sovereign nation the way that Trump administration does. But my saying that it's wrong probably isn't going to fix it between now and lunch. It's wrong what they're doing in Iran. Was the supreme leader, I was about to say rest in peace. No. But I'm not going to say, the the venom that comes out of the mouth of the president and the White House about we killed the supreme leader and he was a horrible human being and he's a dirty dog and just like this vile rhetoric. This just in, the man's dead. Did he say death to America, death to Israel? Yeah. I listen to the same shit you do. I understand that part. Everybody understands it. Was he Bibi Netanyahu existential threat to Israel? Yes. Not in dispute. But how do you go about it? In a way that benefits the United States. We're all a member of the world community. Israel has been an ally of the United States for almost as long as I've been alive. How do you go about it in a way that serves American interest first and then that of our allies and going forward? Is it flying in and decapitating? Sounds like a big truck. I am outside. Obviously, it's 50 with an effing degrees right right this minute, which is miraculous compared to where we've been. So yeah, we're all in it together. But how do you go in and manage things in a way that is good for Donald Trump? Doesn't care what's going on in 3 years and however many, not even 3 years, whatever's left in his reign as king. He probably thinks that JD or Marco will be there in his stead, or perhaps he knows the candidate is going to be somebody else, somebody closer to his bloodline. I don't know. I heard he has some kids. I think Donald DJT. So is somebody else going to be a candidate? I don't think it's going to be Tucker Carlson, but things change. But could it be? Could Don Jr. and we still have, unfortunately, we still have a little less than 3 years remaining. Can part of Trump's plan, and he's always the horse trading thing, like, I promise I'm not going to run again. I know Constitution says I can't, but I don't give a fuck about the Constitution. But what I'll do, like with the SAVE Act, is I will promise, I will put up my hand as Donald J. Trump, whose word is his bond, and I promise I'm not going to run again if you'll elect my son. All right, MAGA? Got me? Got your hat on right? Right? You take another red pill, drink the red Kool-Aid, but not that red Kool-Aid. Some of the red Kool-Aid I heard can be bad for your health. Just be careful. Uh, or mix and match and see what happens. Yeah. So here we are. We have our oil. It's expensive. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, which will be inexorably connected to the cost of oil. It's kind of like a two-part. I said one thing, two parts. Trump has taken so much money from the oil companies, all internet, just not the ones just down the street, but all of them, and they expect something in return. So he can't. They're going to make money. I'm not begrudging oil companies. We live in a capitalist society for now. Capitalist, companies, publicly traded companies, need to earn money in order to do their job, right? To employ people. But if you think about, if you layer tariffs into the conversation, right? So all of these companies we talked about Oil isn't just powering the engine, it isn't just running the generator. It isn't just gas isn't just heating the building, right? These distillates are component parts in the manufacture of other products, right? Goes it's plastics, it's other things, things that we can't get by with, we we can't do without the way that our world is set up right now, right? The power companies take a couple CEOs at their word and said, no, the tariffs, we were eating the costs. I'm not buying it, and in many cases, there's very, very few good examples of this. But no, we were absorbing all the costs of the tariffs because we wanted to take care of our customers because we love you, we value your business, and so we want we want we're going to take the financial hit for another couple weeks until such time. Now, any certainly their margins have been narrowed by the tariff. They pass the prices along to the customers. Tariffs are taxes. That is not in dispute. 90% of the cost of tariffs is paid for by American consumers or American companies. So 90%. So that has been studied, verified over a long period of time. That's not a snapshot. If you want to read something, if you're desperate to read something really smart on tariffs, there is something called Keel. I don't have it in front of me. Is it an institute? Is it a think tank? But Kiel, it's the name of a city in Germany, and they have some data on tariffs that is bulletproof and really smart. If you're if there's somebody in your, grandpa is screaming at you saying, DJT would not do this to, that is a tariff denier. He's like, China's paying for the tariffs. It's China, or China, as your president says. And you have a denier in your family, then don't let them go on the computer, right? Because they'll F something up. But go to the Kiel Institute and download that information, and if they can read, let them read it. They won't like. I fought against Germans. I don't believe what they're. Yeah, okay. So the other thing related to oil that I'm going to touch on, and then I'm going to wish you a beautiful day, and then I'm going to take the beautiful little four-legged assassin for a walk because he deserves it, and it's beautiful. Yeah. This also connects to one of yours and my favorite people, which is Elon Musk. And you say to me, we were doing so well. It's such a beautiful day. It's a Monday. Why do we have to involve Elon Musk in this discussion? He just fucked everything up. Sorry. But I use Elon as an avatar of EVs, right? What your president did and continues to do every single day, and this is throughout his administration, is he has an assault on all wind, solar, battery, EV, the entire industry, right? Biden, if you love him, you hate him, whatever it is, I don't care. You wish him well because he's a good human being and he's getting on in years and he's fighting cancer. So, you know, have a nice thought for him, right? Don't have to support him. You don't have to vote for him again. But at least have a good thought for him as a human. The incentives, the rebates when it came to purchasing EVs was a good idea then. it would be a good idea now. Those rebates are gone, much to Putin, in the same package, much to Elon Musk's disappointment, because that would be a big boon for his business, one of his many very successful businesses. And I'm never going to deny Elon Musk's genius, right? But you could also argue that, Jeffrey Dahmer used to store parts of his victims' bodies in mason jars to preserve them, or parts of them, so he could relive the excitement of the murders. So, innovation is important in our society, and Elon's right at the forefront of innovation. But it doesn't excuse everything, right? What does what does mass murder have in common with Elon Musk or Donald J. Trump? Work with me here. Let me give it a try. Our dependence today on fossil fuels, why we are being impacted so much now and will be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, is that Donald J. Trump at the same time harmed the United States, green energy spending, development, research, while at the same time, while we're moving backwards, because you don't, in 2026, which I think that's where we are. So I was joking about the sim. If we're living in a sim and you know it for certainty and there's some way you can prove it, I'd love to, hear your thoughts and see your keel report on the fact that we're living in a sim, because it kind of feels that way. It has that kind of spirit deadening delight that a sim might convey to its hostages, right? But while we're being held in one place, which is being held back, moving backwards on EVs and on green energy more generally, China is moving forward, and they are accelerating because Xi Jinping, no dummy, right? He's busy right now because he's doing a lot of killing generals, right? He's culling the herd, which is a little bit insensitive because these people have families too, right? It's a tough society, and the rules are a little bit different. Now, our rules are a little bit closer to China than they were before Donald Trump came to office. Okay. What Trump is doing is he is kneecapping our country by de-emphasizing green energy, tech, research, development, and setting us way back, while he's giving a boost, he's giving a leg up to China. And other countries are developing green technology other than China. But as we know, China is doing it better and faster, right? They have better scientists, they have more resources, they have a system set up where all it is Xi says go, then you go, period. No red tape, no committee meetings, no reaching consensus on the bill. And that, as you can imagine, we're looking at the Gulf, oil tankers, LNG tankers sitting still, no new ones entering the Gulf because they can't get insurance. And all the while, during the pendency of this hostile action, we're not developing. Yeah, we're doing great with AI. particularly Anthropic, which, which is perfect, really, because idiots like Pistol Pete and perhaps your president think that they're going to crush Anthropic because their feelings are hurt. Anthropic, uh, 2 years ago, was projecting $1 billion in at least gross for the year. Next year, 20 billion. What portion of that is government contract? That's an important question because they're going to be hampered while they sue the shit out of the Trump administration for a number of contract related issues that we won't go into today, right? We talked about force majeure. That ain't what it is. It's under the category of, we'll call it the Massengill principle, which governs so much of what the Trump administration does. Right? Look it up. It's not in every legal text, but the generally the Massengill principles say, don't be a dick because they'll come back to get you. Right? So, and DJT as the head of the Massengill Mafia. Shit flows downhill. Appreciate your time. Wishing you a beautiful day. This is one of those because it's so beautiful out. I'm going to probably get uncomfortably close to the camera in order to shut it off. And but forgive me for that. Have an absolutely beautiful day. Send any questions in the feed, and restack, subscribe. Thank you for all of the nice notes. Getting tons of engagement, even on the silly shit. When you get a engagement of a couple thousand on something, of course it's because Michelle Obama is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So it's not me. You're not clicking on me. It's Michelle Obama appreciation clicks, but whatever it takes. I'm not ain't too proud to beg, as I think the Rolling Stones said. But I won't beg, but I'll ask. Share it with a friend. Try to get somebody else to take a look at one episode of my pod, and maybe they become a subscriber. I mean, it's free. The price is right. So whatever you can do, I appreciate it. And now I'm going to put my hand over the phone and try to hit the button without deleting anything. Wishing you all a good day. Thank you very much for your time.